We live in a world that is absolutely terrified of silence. Whenever there's a pause in a conversation, most people panic. They rush to fill the void with meaningless chatter, nervous laughter, or forced opinions. We are conditioned to believe that the loudest person in the room is the most confident, powerful, and intelligent. But from a psychological standpoint, nothing could be further from the truth. True power, the kind of power that commands respect, disarms opponents, and puts you entirely in control of your surroundings, is rarely loud. It is quiet. It is measured. It is the calculated, strategic use of silence. Today, we are going entirely against what society tells you to do. We are exploring why shutting your mouth is often the most powerful move you can make. This is not about being socially anxious or shy. This is about strategic quietness. It is a psychological tool used by the most influential and intelligent people in the world. Let us dive into the psychology of silence and exactly how you can use it to build unstoppable power in your everyday life.
Let us start with the first profound advantage, the mystery factor. Human beings are naturally curious creatures. We are biologically wired to solve puzzles, to figure things out, and to fill in the blank spaces. When you encounter someone who speaks constantly, they lay all their cards on the table. You know their insecurities, desires, weaknesses, and opinions within minutes of meeting them. There is absolutely nothing left to discover. They have entirely removed their own mystery. When the supply of your words is endlessly abundant, their value automatically drops to zero. But what happens when you deliberately hold back? You instantly trigger the deep psychological principle of scarcity. When you speak less, every single word you say carries immense weight. People physically lean in when you open your mouth because they know you do not waste your breath. More importantly, your silence makes you a blank canvas. Because people cannot easily read you, they instinctively project their own thoughts and insecurities onto you. In a room full of people desperate for attention, the person who sits back, observes, and remains quiet immediately becomes the most intriguing figure present. People will naturally wonder what you are thinking. They will wonder if you are secretly judging them, if you know something they do not, or if you simply find them uninteresting. This creates a subconscious power dynamic where others begin to seek your validation. They will start talking more and more just to get a reaction out of you, effectively handing over their power and control. By simply keeping your mouth shut, you elevate your perceived status and become a powerful magnet for curiosity and respect.
Moving deeper into the psychology of quietness, we find its most devastating application: emotional control. Imagine you find yourself in a heated argument. The other person is raising their voice, throwing wild accusations, and trying desperately to pull you into their emotional storm. The natural human instinct is to defend yourself, to shout back, and to match their chaotic energy. But when you do that, you have lost. You have allowed them to completely dictate your emotional state. Now, imagine a different response entirely. Imagine that instead of reacting, you look at them with a calm, unbothered expression, and you say absolutely nothing. The silence stretches on for 3 seconds, then 5, then 10. The psychological impact of this is profound. Silence in the face of blinding anger is incredibly destabilizing. It robs the aggressor of the emotional fuel they need to keep the conflict going. They expect resistance, and when they meet a cold wall of silence, their momentum crashes. They suddenly become acutely aware of how loud, irrational, and out of control they sound. Often, the sheer discomfort of the silence will cause them to start backpedaling, over-explaining themselves, or even apologizing to break the tension. This exact same principle applies to high-stakes negotiations.
In any negotiation, whether it is for a salary bump or a major business deal, the person who is most comfortable with awkward silence usually wins. Let us say you state your terms, and the other party hesitates.
The amateur negotiator will immediately start justifying their price or negotiating against themselves to break the awkward tension in the room. The master negotiator will simply state their position and close their mouth. This is known as the pregnant pause. It is a psychological pressure cooker. The human brain hates unresolved tension. By remaining completely silent, you force the other person to resolve that tension for you. 9 times out of 10, they will fill the silence by making a concession, revealing their bottom line, or offering a better deal. You win not by arguing better, but by possessing the brutal emotional discipline to outweigh them. Silence is the ultimate shield against manipulation, because you cannot be manipulated if you give the manipulator absolutely nothing to work with.
This brings us to the final and perhaps most crucial aspect of strategic quietness, the observer's edge. There is a brilliant phrase that says, "The fool speaks to prove he knows. The wise man listens to learn what he does not." There is a massive correlation between high intelligence and a strong preference for listening over talking. Why? Because talking is an output of information, while listening is an input. When you are speaking, you are only repeating what you already know. You are not learning anything new. But when you are silent, you become an unstoppable information-gathering machine. High IQ individuals view social interactions not as a stage to perform on, but as a laboratory to gather crucial data. While the loud person in the room is busy trying to impress everyone with their own voice, the quiet observer is mapping the entire room. They are watching micro-expressions and body language. They are noticing who looks at whom when a controversial joke is made. They are identifying the hidden power structures, the deep-seated insecurities, and the true underlying motivations of the people around them. They are recognizing patterns that everyone else misses. This is the observer's edge. By the time the quiet person finally decides to act or speak, they have an overwhelming informational advantage. They have quietly collected all the pieces of the puzzle while everyone else was blindfolded by their own egos. Think about apex predators in the wild. The lion does not roar when it is actively hunting. It moves in complete silence, observing its prey, calculating the exact distance, and waiting for the absolute perfect moment to strike. In the corporate world, in social circles, and in life, the quiet observer operates the exact same way. They let others reveal their hands, expose their fatal flaws, and show their true colors. When you make a permanent habit of being the silent observer, people will often underestimate you. They will foolishly mistake your quietness for passivity or even a lack of intelligence. Let them. Being consistently underestimated is one of the greatest tactical advantages you can possibly have. It allows you to operate completely under the radar, entirely free from scrutiny, while you meticulously build your strategy. And when you finally do make your move, it will be swift, shockingly accurate, and completely unstoppable, because it is backed by the quiet intelligence you gathered while everyone else was entirely too busy talking. We live in a modern society that is heavily addicted to noise. We are constantly told to speak our truth, to make our voices heard, and to never let a single moment pass without loudly inserting our own opinion. But true psychological power does not ever scream for attention. It waits patiently in the shadows. By fully embracing strategic silence, you cultivate an aura of untouchable magnetic mystery. You master your own volatile emotions while deeply destabilizing those who try to manipulate or anger you. And you transform yourself into a highly observant, deeply analytical individual who sees the world crystal clearly while others remain blinded by their own noise. So the next time you feel the overwhelming urge to jump into a conversation, to over-explain yourself, or to nervously fill an awkward pause, stop. Take a slow breath, close your mouth, and simply watch how the entire dynamic of the room instantly shifts in your favor. Master your silence, and you will undoubtedly master the world around you.